domestic violence and race, ethnicity, and coloniality in Fiji. Introduction. Fiji's colonial history has shaped its society in many ways, influencing culture and the relationships between different ethnic groups. This background contributes to issues like domestic violence, as historical power dynamics and social norms continue to affect our daily lives. British colonizers brought Indian laborers to Fiji, creating a division between the indigenous Ituki and Indo-Fijians. This separation led to distinct identities and social differences affecting their relationship and challenges today. For instance, even with laws against discrimination, some Indo-Fijians still face barriers in accepting jobs and education. Additionally, tensions between Itoke and Indo-Fijians can lead to conflicts in communities, making it hard to build unity among them. Moving on to the next slide, which is colonial history and ethnic divisions. As we all know that Fiji gained its independence in 1970 after being under the British colonial rule since 1874. The British colonial government brought Indian indentured servants to work in Fiji in the sugarcane plantations. These workers signed contracts for set numbers of years in exchange for wages, food, and shelter. Many came from poverty in India, hoping for better opportunities in Fiji. This arrival significantly changed Fiji's demographics and culture as they settled and established their communities in the country. The arrival of Indo-Fijian created divisions between them and the native people. These divisions have influenced Fiji's politics as different groups often struggle for power. Socially, tensions can lead to mistrust and conflict between communities. Through economically, both groups may compete for jobs and resources, which can create further conflict and inequality in society. The next slide is based on race, ethnicity, and domestic violence. All groups in Fiji experience domestic violence. For instance, both Indo-Fijians and Itoki cultures often follow traditional patriarchal systems where men hold more power and authority in families and communities. These traditions can lead to the belief that men should control women, which may contribute to gender-based violence. The maintenance of traditional gender roles and hierarchies may provide difficulties for Ituki communities. In my Fijian society, many people are taught to respect male, which can make them feel afraid or ashamed to report violence. This can prevent victims from seeking help, leading to ongoing cycles of abuse and silence. The third point states that social stigma may put further strain on Indo-Fijian communities and suffers may less access to support. In Indo-Fijian communities, social stigma surrounding domestic violence can make it difficult for victims to seek help. Many people may worry about being judged or shamed if they talk about their experiences. This can prevent them from reaching out for support or help. The next slide is coloniality's legacy on gender norms. In Fiji, strict gender roles and control structures were developed during the colonial era. By emphasizing male authority, colonial institutions indirectly reinforced patriarchal notions that still shape family relationships. Many people think that discussing such issues is shameful, which can lead to negative opinions about those who do speak out. Instead of getting the support they need, they may face judgment or blame, which further discourages them from seeking help. And in today's modern responses to domestic violence, the government has made awareness. Fiji has made progress in fighting domestic abuse through awareness programs and changes in laws. One important step was the domestic violence decree of 2009, which strengthened protections for survivors. Through this, it encouraged people to take action against abuse. And although there are still obstacles to overcome, such as victims' frequent stigma and restricted access to support services. The contemporary efforts and challenges, the government, local communities, and NGOs are working together to fight against domestic abuse. However, because of the lingering effects of colonialism and racial segregation, it is still challenging to bridge the division between the Itoki and Indo-Fijian populations when it comes to preventing domestic abuse. The second point it states dismantling colonial era legacy that sustain gender-based violence across ethnic boundaries. Through this, education can teach people about equality and respect, helping to challenge harmful traditions. Community initiatives can bring people together to support survivors and promote healthy relationships. And finally, changing cultural attitudes is important for creating a safe environment where everyone is valued and abuse is not accepted. The solution in addressing domestic violence and colonial legacies in Fiji, the first point stated religious and cultural leaders need to work together in order to avoid domestic abuse. These leaders can be involved in community-based activities that challenge patriarchal conventions, rethink gender roles, and promote safety and respect in the family. The second point is making legal services more widely available to all victims. This is especially important for people in rural and indigenous communities who often face barriers in accessing legal support. By providing more resources and outreach, we can empower these people to seek protection and hold abusers accountable. The third point states that programs that unite Indo-Fijian and Itoki communities to talk about their issues. Mutual understandings and solidarity can help remove racial and ethnic stigmas that obstruct collective action. And the last slide is conclusion. Fiji's colonial past has created deep racial and ethnic divisions, shaping attitudes that contribute to domestic violence. Colonial policies strengthen male authority and traditional roles, affecting both Itoki and Indo-Fijian communities. These cultural beliefs make it difficult for victims to speak out, as they often face stigma when reporting abuse. Pinaka.